You want an open concept living space. It's a popular home renovation, and it usually starts with the idea of swinging a sledgehammer right through the wall, dividing your kitchen and living room. If you talk to enough contractors, someone will likely offer you a shortcut. They'll promise to knock the wall down over a weekend, skip the city building department, and keep thousands of dollars in your pocket. In California, taking this shortcut places you outside the protections of the state building code and creates a series of specific legal and structural consequences. This video evaluates the cash you save on day one against the specific liabilities that accumulate when you bypass the legal process. Chasing immediate savings often results in a total project cost that is significantly higher than the original permit fee. In standard construction, a load-bearing wall supports the downward weight, or gravity load, of the roof and upper floors. This diagram shows the dual-role walls play in California. These structures act as shear walls, which lock the house together and resist lateral, side-to-side forces during an earthquake. Removing a shear wall without calculating how to replace that lateral stability leaves the structure vulnerable when the ground shakes. The house can skew or collapse sideways because it no longer has the necessary bracing. Determining whether a wall provides gravity support, lateral bracing, or both requires the specialized analysis of a licensed structural engineer or architect. Because of these seismic risks, the removal of an interior wall in California is a structural redesign that requires professional calculation. Bringing in an engineer requires an initial assessment fee between $750 and $2,000. If the wall is load-bearing, a full structural analysis can range from $5,000 to $12,000. That investment produces signed and stamped structural drawings, which are the primary documents required for city approval. You will also pay for mandatory building permits, along with separate electrical or plumbing permits if the crew needs to move pipes or wires found inside the wall. This adds significant costs and paperwork to the project schedule before the first stud is removed. However, these calculations and permits are the specific tools used to ensure the house remains stable and meets seismic safety standards. To safely remove the wall, the crew must first build temporary shoring walls to hold up the ceiling and roof during demolition. Next, they install a structural replacement, such as a beam made of laminated veneer lumber, glulam, or steel to span the new opening. This animation shows the physics of a point load. The weight from above travels horizontally across the beam and then turns straight down into the vertical posts at either end, concentrating all that pressure into two single points on the floor. To handle this concentrated weight, contractors often have to cut into the floor and pour new concrete footings that disperse the pressure into the earth. Construction costs for a basic single-story removal typically range from $2,000 to $5,000, but can reach $25,000 for multi-story shear walls. A foundation overhaul is often the physical reality of safely transferring tons of structural weight once a supporting wall is gone. Removing walls without engineering often leads to progressive structural damage, visible as sagging ceilings and cracked drywall. As the frame shifts under the unsupported weight, doors and windows will begin to jam or stick in their frames. Insurance providers frequently deny claims and cancel policies if a structural failure or fire is linked to unpermitted work. This comparison matrix shows the financial risk. While you save on permit fees initially, local building departments can issue stop work orders and daily fines that often total tens of thousands of dollars. For retroactive legalization, cities often force homeowners to tear open finished walls so an inspector can see the framing, all while charging double or triple the standard permit fee. The initial savings from a contractor's shortcut can eventually cost the homeowner many times the original project budget. California's material facts law requires you to legally disclose all unpermitted structural work to any potential buyer. Home inspectors easily identify missing walls. This often leads to buyers walking away or demanding price reductions that far exceed the cost of the original permit. Lenders may also refuse to refinance or can even demand immediate repayment of a mortgage if they discover unpermitted changes that affect the property's value. Unpermitted structural work devalues your home and creates a negative return on your investment. In a high seismic zone, removing a load-bearing wall requires professional intervention to ensure the safety of the occupants. For those flipping houses, the margin gained by skipping permits is typically lost when the work is disclosed during the sale. Remodelers should be aware that if a contractor suggests bypassing the building department, they are the ones who walk away, while the homeowner is left with the legal and financial liability. If a professional suggests you skip engineered plans for a structural wall, you should terminate your agreement with them immediately. Protecting your property value requires rejecting the promise of cheap, unpermitted demolition. The correct order of operations is to verify the load, engineer the plans, pull the permits, and construct the project with formal inspections. The $5,000 to $10,000 required for engineering and permits secures the professional analysis and legal approval necessary for a high seismic zone. This upfront cost serves as protection against structural failure, city fines, and title issues during resale. The rule for California renovations is to follow the building code strictly or avoid structural changes entirely. Paying for engineered safety is the only way to achieve an open concept layout while maintaining the structural integrity of your home.